Well, after 4.5 years, this car is no longer mine. Well, I guess it technically is, because we haven't signed over the title or anything, but yep, this car is replaced by the Focus out there. It's going to my little brother now, so he's gonna be the driver caretaker of this car. So I just thought I'd make a little wrap-up video on it. You know, I'm sure I'll still see it every once in a while, but really, this car was a great car to own. I would totally recommend it. You know, if having window issues doesn't bother you, that's still my main complaint with this car is really the windows have never worked right in this car. And I kind of gave up on fixing them and just resorted to using the AC and only using the driver's window, which thankfully has not stopped working and hopefully never will stop working. So let's do a little wrap up of this car. Really, there's a couple things that occurred with this car that were not general maintenance, and the rest has just been general maintenance stuff. So the past couple years, let's see, what have I had to do to this? All the brakes have been done, front and rear, pads and rotors. The rear brakes on this car, one of the most painless things I've ever done. I was amazed how easy. I think the whole job took me less than 2 hours for the pads and rotors. I had no trouble at all, so that was awesome. Outer tie rods on the front have been done. Plugs and wires have been done. And the cylinder, I think 1 and 4 coil was replaced. What else has been done recently? I had the trans fluid changed and the filter. I had that done probably about 1,000 miles ago. Just cause I don't know if I needed to, but I did. And the shop said the fluid looked good, so that's a good sign. Because I hear that sometimes these 3800 trannies can be a little problematic. But this one's been fine so far, and hopefully continues to be fine. As far as general maintenance, that's probably about it. I replaced the air filter. It's needed a couple fuel line repairs. I only say that because the first time it wasn't done correctly. So the second time it was done correctly, and I have not had any problems since then. I think the only things that are not general maintenance are the cruise control doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked in years. Well, I should rephrase that. The cruise control works, but this on-off switch is bad. So if you hold the on-off switch down, the cruise control will work. But otherwise it doesn't. And really the main reason I haven't replaced it is because it is very hard to find this button in blue, and I refuse to do it a different color because that would look terrible and tacky. So it has remained not working. I don't think this cruise control in this thing has worked in probably the last 4 years. It stopped working about 6 months after I got the car. And then the windows, obviously. If you're going to buy one of these Buicks from this era, be ready to have your windows not work. Especially, I know the LeSabres and the Regals suffer from that problem. Don't know about like the Centuries or the Park Avenues or anything, but if you're going to get a LeSabre, be ready for the windows to stop working. And actually, there's a switch under this floor over here that controls the power accessories for everything over here, like the power locks, the power windows. That switch went bad. So the power locks for all the doors except the driver's door do not work anymore. The power windows, except for the driver's side, don't work, but I never use those anyway. And the power passenger side mirror does not work anymore. But I mean, you know, most of the time I had this car, I was the only one driving it, you know, to work and back and whatnot. And I was quoted $500 to do that job, which I don't want to do because you got to rip up the carpet and everything. Maybe it'll get done at some point, but I don't know. That's up to my brother. I never worried about it. Really, though, and I'm going to leave this door open because it's so hot out here today. Really, this car was fantastic. I never had any huge reliability issues. It was just general maintenance stuff that needed to be fixed. You know, I drove it toward the end of its life. I had about a 50-mile commute every day, you know, to work and back, and did it like a dream. And these are so comfortable. I really do miss the comfortable ride of this car, because in that car you feel everything. I was like, man, I didn't realize some of these roads were so bad, because this car is just so comfortable and it feels like a couch. You know, I never had a problem with this car in the snow. For what it is, got pretty darn good gas mileage. I mean, this thing's better because it's tiny and a 4-cylinder and a 6-speed, but this car's pretty good on gas, especially after I did the plugs and wires. That really helped the gas mileage go up. I shouldn't say I did the plugs and wires. The shop did the plugs and wires. But the gas mileage went up pretty decently after I did those. I went from like 20 or 21 combined to like 23, 24 combined. And that's pretty good out of a 3,600 pound big V6 car, you know, with a 4-speed auto. Now the bugs are starting to fly, so I'm going to close it. But that's kind of my wrap up on this car. That's about it. You know, I'm sure I'll visit it every once in a while. I will miss it on highway trips. It was a lot nicer when the cruise control worked, but this car was so nice to drive on the highway. So I hope my brother takes care of it. If you're looking to buy one of these, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, you know, look it over. You kind of got to watch out for the intake gaskets on these. I think they kind of had the problem fixed by 2000. I think the 97 to like the late 90s ones suffered from the problem more, but it's still something you got to kind of be wary of. And just keep up with maintenance, and this car won't let you down. I will miss it. And that's about it, I guess. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try and answer them. But I think that's the wrap-up of the old Buick here.